Today's guest is Darren Ryan.
I've seen stuff that I wish I never saw, but I can't change that.
Darren is a former UK undercover police detective. He worked with counter-terrorism and organised crime.
What you see is so dark that you can't be prepared for that and how you react to it.
He was later tasked with the harrowing work of online imagery and child protection.
Each image is a crime scene. Each image is a child victim. Each image is a suspect or a number of suspects. There is nothing normal about that job. Doing that job and investigating paedophiles and looking at images of kids, your brain cannot rationalise it. Harrowing days of investigating, looking after image after image after image, dealing with suspect after suspect after suspect. We're not talking one or two images, we're talking about thousands and hundreds of thousands.
Hunting paedophiles came at a cost.
When did you notice something had changed in you?
Darren developed CPTSD, struggled with alcohol and the abandonment of the force.
Crown prosecution, they're against you sometimes, and you've got to let that guy go.
Where do groomers hide? You mentioned person within the services that you worked in. If a case like that came in, you know, it takes everybody to investigate that.
This is a conversation about education, prevention and awareness, one that needs to be heard.
The most common person that's going to harm your child is...
How do you tell the viewers out there how to protect their children?
I'd say one simple answer to a real complex issue.
Darren, thank you for coming on to my podcast.
Thank you, Craig.
And, I want you to tell me about the cover.
Yeah, the hairs just went up on my arm when you said it. So when I look at that cover, it reminds me of the long corridor, the dark room, closing the door and putting a sign on it that says indecent images being reviewed.
Indecent images of what?
Children being... So that was my investigation at that time, and that was my job at that time, 2014, 2015. So yeah, closed the door to protect others from what you see, but then I was in there by myself and that room changed me.
When you started that job, that initial job, we're going to your other stuff that you've done, but initially starting that specific job, is there a process in the police force to prepare you for what you're about to see?
I don't think anything can prepare you for it, if I'm honest. So you get given the training to investigate telephone or digital imagery, but what you see, I think, is so dark that you can't be prepared for that and how you react to it. So we're not talking one or two images, we're talking about thousands and hundreds of thousands of images that you then have to categorize into different areas of category due to the severity of the image, whether it be torture, whether it be a sexualized image of a child. When I first started that investigation and I closed that door, I was only new to becoming a father. So I think for me, it was an element of, right, okay, I'm now a dad. I am a police officer. I was a detective. Yes, I didn't want to shy away from doing the hard jobs, which I never did in my career. I leaned into and worked on all of the high-risk areas within the police, from organised crime, counter-terrorism, covert surveillance, covert policing, major crime, murders, kidnaps. But the one area that stuck there for me, and the hardest area, was the abuse of children.
Let's go back, Darren. Let's go back, mate. I want to learn how you got to this stage. Why the police force? Why not the armed forces?
I always thought of policing, but I was training to be an architect when 9/11 happened. So when 9/11 happened, I was studying at university, and a friend at school, an old friend at school, was actually killed in 9/11.
Actually in the Twin Towers?
He was in the Twin Towers, yeah. So he was 22 years old. When he died, all of the old school friends met up, and obviously we grieved together and we supported one another. But it wasn't the same for me. When I went back then, finishing designing buildings and stuff, I was like, God, all that matters are people. People matter. Really, that's all that matters, is preventing that from happening again, preventing the destruction that I saw within the family and the friends, and the community that came together was amazing in how they supported one another. And I would always go to the school, our old school, on 9/11, and there would be a mass held for him. And, I'd always go there and see his picture on the wall and talk to him and go, I'm going to try and help prevent something serious from happening. And I thought, well, I can't do that as a architect. And I went, no, people are all that matter. And then I just went, right, okay, I've got to join the police, want to become a detective, I want to work on counterterrorism. I finally became an officer in 2006. Day one, I met my now wife, put on the uniform, felt indestructible, felt bulletproof, got home that night, handcuffing all my family members for a laugh and didn't know how to get the handcuffs off with the handcuff key and stuff. And like, where is it? Digging out a bag and trying to find the handcuff key. It was fun. But I joined 2006, obviously increase in terrorism, and my vision was always, okay, become a detective, work on organised crime, put bad people away, get rid of people in society, put them in somewhere where they can't harm other people. That was always my vision and my idea, and put myself in amongst it. Don't shy away from doing the hard graft, learn the trade, and then work your way up. I didn't spend too long in uniform. I was I was a well-performing probationer, did every role that I wanted to, became a detective really early on, which is what I aspired to be. Worked on counter-terrorism, which is what I always wanted to do, following a friend of mine who passed away in 9/11, and then worked on, human trafficking, domestic abuse, murders, kidnapping, other covert work, which I can't go into. And then fast forward all these many years later to then, increase of digital and technology to online paedophiles.
Do you actually meet the person?
Yeah.
Is it
distributing
it? Do you actually get to make that arrest?
Yeah.
The anger that I would feel knowing that I'm in front of a but you've got to act professional. You've got to put that in the back of your mind. You've seen the images, and now you've got to interview this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a story about the Cav. Everyone knows I was in the Household Cavalry. We had a Pads estate where all the married people stayed. It's called Broom Farm. We used to call it Doom Farm, honestly. You just don't. And I was away doing a course, came back and had a massive big party in my house. We wasn't in Broom Farm, we was away because I said to Tanya, there's no way I can live in here. So we lived somewhere else. And we had a massive party. And we invited this guy. Well, I'm not going to say his name. And top bloke. Top bloke. Found out he was raping his own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
His wife was filming it. And then he had a paedophile ring that he would distribute all this content.
Yeah.
Got arrested, put in prison, committed.
Mm-hmm.
They always do them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very high risk.
But if I'd have seen him, known what he had done,
mm-hmm.
I don't think I could have controlled myself.
Yeah.
And hat off to you for having that self-control
mm-hmm.
of confronting that person. How did you do it?
Like you, I've got the anger. Sometimes you go, God, you've seen such horrible things, and you'd love to lean across the table. You'd love to do something outside of the professional scope, if you like, but you can't lose it because it isn't fair on the job itself. Yeah. You've got a child to find, or you've got a child to safeguard, right? The positive is we know about that person now. Positive is we're going to try to do everything we can within the law to prosecute that individual, safeguard the children. That's your job. Children are safe now, and it's up to the courts and CPS around the decision, and obviously the courts and the judge around sentencing if the case goes to court and the person goes to prison. Sometimes it goes in, if you like, in favour of where you think that case would go. Other times you do think, okay, judicial system has somewhat let down the victim, but as the police, you've done everything you possibly can for that victim, for the investigation, for the evidence you've got, and doing the job to the best of your ability. That's all you can do. And as a leader, when I supervised, it was all about your honesty, your integrity. If you haven't got them as an officer, then you don't have any, they're your building blocks. You have to have honesty and integrity in investigation for it to stand up in court, because if something untoward has happened, if it gets found out, you lose your job, but you ruin the case. So for me, it's about doing everything right. And if that means talking to the individual that you might want to do that to, you can't.
What comes to my mind is Crown prosecution.
Okay.
All right. They're against you sometimes, aren't they? So you could have all the fucking evidence and the Crown prosecution will go, nah, don't charge him.
Yeah.
And you've got to let that guy go. Nah.
What I would do in that situation is challenge it.
And you can challenge it. And it can go higher than...
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. When I was investigating a stranger 8 years ago, goes out on a night out, comes back, she weren't pissed, she was just laying in bed. So she closes the door thinking, oh, it's a heavy duty door. It's like a hotel door. It would automatically lock. It didn't. So this guy climbed through the windows, checking on any door if they're unlocked. Really? She woke up and he's ripping her. Anyway, found him. I think we were at work for 36 hours on that day. I said, well, no one's going on until we get this. Okay. And on a couple of occasions, there's been really lenient sentencing by a number of different judges. So as a supervisor and with the investigation team, we've challenged many a decision that a judge has made for a lighter sentence to actually get a substantial sentence to support the victim, who has been amazingly courageous in actually telling their story and going all of the way to prosecuting that person, that person should actually go to prison for a long period of time. And that we've challenged that on a number of cases. I know of current members of previous people I've worked with are currently challenging a number of them cases at the moment as well in sentencing, and we have had them overturned. Where do groomers hide, or people with an interest in children? Unfortunately, they could be anywhere. I'd love to say we shouldn't even need a child protection team, but we do, because kids are let down in so many ways by so many people.
They think of different things, don't they?
Yeah.
They portray themselves as younger kids.
Yeah, they can pretend to obviously be a child, to obviously play, a game on computer and then communicate. So they could be anywhere, But to reassure the viewers watching this, there's a lot of people working tirelessly to prevent significant harm to children. It isn't no longer geographically Hereford or whatever area. It's worldwide, okay? Especially with imagery and the internet. But the most important thing you can do with your children is to have a good relationship, an open relationship, whereby if something has happened, they've been approached or they've been messaged online, that you say, can you please share with me? They haven't done anything wrong, and have that open conversation. And that can sometimes be a lifeline. It can sometimes be the difference in something happening or not. But if children have been contacted or something more serious happened to them, often there'll be a change in their demeanour, their behaviour, school,
would you say
attendance, anger, rebellion. Yeah. So when you investigate child offences, you do look for, was there a change of behaviour? What was the pattern of behaviour? When was it? And go back to timeline, it could be, yes, it correlates to when they could have been groomed, possibly.
How many cases against children have you done?
As in, images would be hundreds of thousands. Investigations, adult sexual offences would be 1,000 over, probably. Children, less, because I was more investigating adult sexual offences for a longer period of time. But then as a detective sergeant and a temporary detective inspector, it was online paedophiles and safeguarding children. So every offence might not be a sexual offence. It could be a neglect. It could be an assault. So yeah, again, you're looking at thousands. So if a real critical incident come in, the worst of the worst, where you mentioned the person within the services that you worked in, if a case like that came in, it takes everybody to investigate that, because obviously the complexity of it. And nowadays with digital technology and mobile phones, you might have 10 mobile phones. You could have SIM cards to download, and you've got to review all of that evidence as soon as possible, because no doubt you're going to remand that person in custody, and then that puts time pressure on you to get the evidence to Crown Prosecution Service when you've actually remanded someone for something as significant as what you've said. So if it's familial and that dad is keeping the daughter in your case, and we've had investigations like that and I've been part of that, so you get to support other teams as well. So you're not in silo with your own individual team. As a force, you've got resources, you've got demand, and then you go, how are we going to deal with this demand? What resources are available to us, and who's best trained to deal with that job? And then that's how you would then go and support extra people. As a parent or guardian, you think the most common person that's going to harm your child is a stranger. It's a myth. Statistics suggest 85 to 90% of people that abuse children are known to the child. It is a myth that it is strangers. Strangers make up 5 to 10% of known offences against children. Whereas the reality is, it's a person that you know that could actually be the abuser of your children. It is, and I know it's a horrible thought, but it is a person that your child will know. You might think you can stereotype. You might think from watching films on TV or seeing people that have been prosecuted that they all look a certain way. They don't. They look like you or me. And I don't say that to make you feel uneasy or that I'm calling you a predator, but you never know who has an interest in children.
I'm going to catch you on the hop now. Do you feel they should be segregated in prison? I don't think they should, because they have his wings, don't they?
Paedophiles.
That's what they call it.
Right. So people inside would, yeah, I'd get told off if I said to isolate.
Can we say that, Josh?
Probably
we
not.
Can't say that. What can we say?
Call them paedophiles. Do I think they should be in isolation and given special treatment? No. They've done what they've done. I've seen what they've done. I've heard what they've done. I see it every day, what they've done. No, not at all. Not at all.
And they say, I can't help it.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
And some of them want to be castrated,
yes,
don't they?
Yeah, to help with the urges and that, yeah.
But you can't do that in English.
So I'll give an example. Someone I arrested for indecent images. We had a warrant, knocked on the door. He was in a shared accommodation, knocked on the door, opened the door. We're here, got a warrant. Your name is so-and-so. We're here, got a warrant to search for digital, electrical devices, etc., because he was uploading images of children. And opened the door, and as soon as he saw us, he said, I look at the images to stem my paedophilia and to stop me doing anything more serious. So that was his rationale,
really?
Right? That was his rationale.
Oh, taser. Straight away.
So what we did, obviously, it's an unsolicited comment. He wasn't under caution that time because we opened the door, and he opened the door, and he's already saying, I'm I've got interest in children. So secure the evidence, secure him. He was no risk to us, albeit, of course.
Do you try and not make them talk? Don't say anything.
Can't. Yeah,
So
I try. Yeah.
if
they just do it, no, just let them. But you remind them they're under caution, and you record it. And now with digital technology and the police, you've got body worn video as well, so it's all there. So my view on chemical, if it was to prevent someone from being harmed and people are wanting to and they're consenting, why not? If it stops that urge, if it stops someone looking, if you reduce the demand of people searching for this grotesque, horrible, horrendous stuff online, then you won't have the demand for it. You reduce the demand, then hopefully that reduces the need for people to film and put it out there and share it. Okay, so in my career, I had a number of paedophiles say to me, the images that you're going to find stem my paedophilia, as in stop me from a physical act of harm to a child. Regardless of the physical act they're doing to a child or not, the harm has already been to that child in that image that they're watching. It's already a crime scene. It's already a victim of crime. So it is not okay. And for them to rationalise it as to it prevents them from doing something more serious shows you how some paedophiles' minds are wired going forward with AI. How easy is it going to be now for people to type something into the internet and to have an image created for their appetite of sexual gratification over children? It is an offence. You create it, or you distribute it, or you send it to somebody, you're committing offences. You're not doing this with impunity. So if you are thinking of using AI to create any image which is explicit of children, then you will be investigated for it. It is an offence and you're not going to get away with it. You've got no way of knowing how the police, FBI, National Crime Agency are looking to investigate you.
When did you notice something had changed in you?
There is nothing normal about that job. Doing that job and investigating paedophiles and looking at images of kids, your brain cannot rationalise it. If it's a car accident that you go to, you go, okay, that car's hit that car. Someone's got seriously injured. Your brain can rationalise it. When you actually look at the world I was in for that period of time, and my many colleagues that I know now that are currently doing these jobs, harrowing days of investigating and looking after image after image after image, dealing with suspect after suspect after suspect, rationalising what you're seeing. How can you? I couldn't. I know the one job stuck there, but I was always like, how do people do this? I can't understand it. I can't understand the mindset, the control, the poor children. I've seen stuff that I wish I never saw, but I can't change that. So it was really quick, Craig, basically. So I noticed, so as soon as I saw the image and had that, if you like, my brain went, okay, that's my daughter. And my daughter was only a baby at the time, so of course it couldn't be my daughter, yeah? But the image was of a 5-year-old being abused. And there were loads of others, thousands and thousands and thousands, and they're parked. They're there, but I don't really see them. This one image just stuck there. And trust me, it's far worse than what you even think it could be. And I was really good on crime scenes, seeing a lot of dead people, investigated a lot of crimes, a lot of bad crime scenes with a lot of blood, a lot of people that have been stabbed, hammer attacks, car accidents, but nothing could prepare me for that. But when I saw that, and then I ended up running down the corridor at that time with that image, and then I paused it and then come back and you watch it again, again and again. Like if you look at a crime scene, you've got a digital crime scene and you've got a crime scene, such as a forest, yeah? You attend right, what evidence have we got here? What information have we got here? What forensics? What witnesses? What CCTV? You've got that crime scene, but as soon as it's stood down or you're no longer there, it doesn't exist anymore. It's a location, yeah? Digital, it's there. You can rewind it, you can pause it, you can play it 100 times, you can play it 200 times. What have I missed? How can I identify that location if you don't have the metadata, but you can actually identify via, other means of identifying a location via intelligence or photo recognition. So you just carry on and on and on, trying to do your best for that poor child. And when sometimes your best isn't good enough and you can't find them, it's fucking tough to live with. I knew something had changed because I knew the impact it had had on me, because I had to take a break and because I had to leave the room. The days go by, the months go by, the years go by, and that job stayed there. So with the passing of time, it just grew. And you described the coil spring. I describe it as a seed sowed. So the seed had sown, time passes, a seed will grow, yeah? My PTSD grew over time. And it grew in a timeline with my daughter's age. Showering my daughter when she was a certain age reminded me of the body of the child.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a timeline. It grew, and it grew, and the image just carried on and on and on and on and on and on. And it wouldn't leave me alone. And you carry on doing your job, you carry on trying to be a father, trying to be a husband, and my daughter was growing up and everything, and then you start to have triggers and that, and the image is there along with all the other jobs, but that one image just carried on haunting me every day, 30, 40, 50 times. I knew I was in a bad place when I was just having constant flashbacks. But then I had a job to do. I had to be a dad. I had to be a detective sergeant. I had 8 staff that I supervised. I was investigating complex organised crime. I was investigating every day of adults, supporting teams of child abuse, working 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours a day, every day. How can you have a good day at work when you're dealing with child abuse, child neglect, child rape? There's no such thing as a good day. Each image is a crime scene. Each image is a child victim. Each image is a suspect or a number of suspects that are abusing children. Some of it might be old abuse. The images could be old, or some of it could be what's called next generation, new generation imagery, whereby the images have never been seen before. And in my case, there was a number of images which had never been seen, so they were new imagery. And every job carried potential trauma. So there was no let up. There was no time to decompress. There was no moment of peace. I remember going home early hours of the morning, had an hour drive, went home, had 2-3 hours kip. I did get a bottle of wine. That slept about 4 hours later back in work. And I remember going to the coffee thing, going, oh, fuck, I've run out of coffee. 60p cup of coffee, put my card on, didn't work. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. Someone else comes in and goes, coffee. Looks at my pay. Yeah. Couldn't afford a coffee, mate. Yeah. And I had a week till payday. There'll be, this time of year, there'll be coppers going to food banks. Yeah. Army going to food banks. 60p cup of coffee, mate. Couldn't afford. And then when I had the moment of peace, and I think this is one of the hardest things around it, is you've got the moment of peace when you're at home, when you're on rest days, when you should be recovering, you should be sleeping. But I'm being triggered around my own kids. I'm being triggered around dropping my children to school. watching TV where we're watching a film or a comedy, and I'm there having flashbacks. There was no let up. And then, that job changed me. It changed everything, really. So I suppose a key element of today that I want to highlight to people doing these harrowing jobs is, if you are being triggered around your family members, whether it be adults or children, however the investigations are, primarily children, because your brain really struggles to rationalise the trauma caused to kids, that maybe you might need to talk to somebody about it before it grows, because it will only get worse in my experience. I'm not saying everyone, but for me, it got worse. It would happen every day. So if I was sharing my daughter, bless her, and obviously she doesn't know, she still doesn't know, which will be quite tough to communicate that in time.
Okay. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
I'll probably say something now. You started drinking. When did you start drinking? Was that to numb the pain that you were in?
So I would always try to leave work at the doorstep, and that's what I called it. So it would be like, right, okay, so that's the person there investigating. I've done my best, okay? I've done the best for the people, the victims, my team, the community. I might have even been on the phone or something on the way home dealing with a scene that we've got, or a night shift come on and they want to talk to the sergeant or the detective inspector in charge. So, you could be, it's that time away from the office. So I would try to not allow what had happened to come in. I was always really doing my best to try and not leave it come into our house. But of course, you can't change who you are and what you've seen. So you cross that threshold, you change your clothes and you think you've changed. So with the threshold, for example, of the door. So I remember dealing with a real hard child death and coming in to the house, and it was early hours of the morning. I'm tiptoeing in and with my suit on and trying not to wake the kids up. But my son, for some reason, if there was ever a bad job, I would walk in and he would be walking out of his room and I'd have a cuddle. And it would be the moment of, I'm grateful. This is a moment of gratefulness that I've left something really hard and horrible and a family in grief and mourning to actually come home to my own family, and realise how lucky I am. So for me, being in the police was always a real good eye-opener, as in, you're lucky, mate. You're not going through all that stuff. Kids are lucky, kids are safe, So I'd have them cuddles, and then a few hours later, get up, have a shower, and then go back in, because we'd have another long day ahead of us because of obviously what we're investigating and the tough jobs. So that's the threshold. The drinking was a slippery slope. It was something, and that's what I talk around with alcoholism or addiction. If someone's trigger, for example, is a location, you can go around that location and not be there. If you've dealt with the worst of the worst children abusers and you've got your own children, you can't change, you can't drive around it, you live in amongst it. It's really hard to be triggered by the people that you love, really, really hard. And they've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. I didn't do anything wrong in my job. I did my best and it affected me. So I think because of how I was being triggered around my kids was a big, big thing for me.
I find having a shower cleansing.
Okay.
And I will have 4 or 5 showers a day.
Right, okay.
Obviously not at work.
Yeah.
But if I got day off, I would sit there sometimes and it would overcome me. I feel dirty.
Yeah.
And so I'll go into the shower and I'll scrub. I'll brush my teeth to feel fresher.
Yeah. I know victims of crimes that I've investigated in obviously sexual offences have said that. I haven't. But like you know what you say there around the drinking, that would, I suppose, try to wash away what was going on in your mind.
Was it spirits? Was it pints? Was it both?
For me,
I don't mean to go on, but it fascinates me to feel how your brain worked to soften what
was going on. Yeah.
Did you start off socially?
Police officers generally like a drink. If you go out, you let your hair down. Service people, you go, let your hair down, enjoy a drink, and that's fine. Yeah, if you're doing it and you're having fun. Drinking for me at that point was, okay, I'll just have a couple of shots of whiskey, say, after a late shift or something. Not every day, just now and again, having a bit of a shot. And then you think, okay, that's helped me get to sleep. It's helped me relax. And that's perfectly what I would have looked back on as healthy drinking, if you like. But when years later, I then have a breakdown in 2020, ask for help because I'm not in a good place and because my mental health starts to work against me rather than for me, reduces my ability to do a job. And I think it was protecting me from going there doing any more, if I'm honest, looking back. So I left the police on a career break and worked as a senior lecturer training new police officers. And I thought, right, okay, if I can change the working environment, can I save my career? And it wasn't, can I save my career because I'm drinking too much? At that point, it was totally functioning. I was providing, had a full-time job. I then become a senior lecturer, did that for 18 months, but in that time, my triggers changed to the colour of the carpet, the seats in the police stations, the noise of radios, old people that I worked with that had a case that I'd worked on going to court. I didn't want to hear about it, couldn't talk about it. I didn't want to hear about more trauma when my brain and my PTSD just couldn't move on from that previous job. Albeit I'd had therapy, I had EMDR therapy as well. I had so much, if you like, therapy and being open and talking about it, but it still was there. And then the triggers changed. Because my triggers then had gone up so much, my drinking really increased when I didn't feel believed in the police about my PTSD. So you imagine giving everything to a job and then not feeling believed by the people you thought would believe you. You call it a family. So when I joined, they were my family. And then your family don't believe you.
Same with the army.
Yeah.
Same with the army.
And that's really hard. Really hard because you're going through so much. And I didn't want to leave. I wanted to, I was at that point, I just finished my inspectors, I was then becoming a senior officer. So my career was taking the path I'd worked all them years for, Didn't rush promotion because I wanted to be a good leader. People tell me now I was a great leader, really good on welfare, real good on support. And now people are reaching out to me for that support that maybe some are getting in the job, but a lot aren't. All I wanted was, okay, am I going to be supported here? What other therapy can help me? What other support can you give me? Because my drinking had gone up. The intrusive thoughts had gone up. I was struggling to be here every day. And I was honest about that. And when you're honest about that, Craig, and you know how hard it is to be honest about that aspect as a man as well, and go, this is me and this is what I'm suffering with. There's one thing suffering with a mental illness and having people have that stigma to it. But then when you say actually throw a drinking problem in on top of that, it's extra and there's more judgment. So I went, do you know what? I'm going to fill this form out. I'm going to be honest with the force medical examiner. And I left there with no support. And I just want to be clear here. I haven't come on here I'm not apportioning blame to the police, the service, occupational health. They are angels. Some of the people working occupational health are absolutely amazing. But like you had your 6 sessions. I had my 6 sessions. They're not funded. They're not supported enough by each government, and I'm not here to apportion blame to government either, but you can do better, you can do more, and you can help to protect the people that you're saying are doing an amazing job. The community will get someone that's experienced in doing the job they need. And trust me, you need people experienced dealing with complex and organised crime. You can't have people with 1 or 2 years experience. There has to be a period of development and nurturing and support and peer support. And it takes years to become competent and confident in your ability. And if someone gets assaulted or physically assaulted, you've got that physical, whereas up here, it's invisible, it's hidden, and the way you can deal with it is not like your physical therapy, it's your therapy, it's your EMDR, it's all this other stuff that really works. But it isn't 6 sessions, it's 20, 30, 40, 50. It's years of support. And when someone says they've got a drink problem, or their triggers have changed and they're no longer safe to be here, they are at crisis. There's no sugarcoating it. They are at crisis, and you can save their life by giving them the right help. So that's when my drinking went up to daily. And I wasn't give me a bottle of whiskey a day, give me 10 pints a day. It was 2, 3, 4 pints a day, which might not sound a lot to a lot of people. But if you're not a big drinker and then you're having 2 drinks a day, that's going to have an impact on how much you sleep, how well you eat, how well you look after yourself, how present you're going to be with your family. My wife, bless her, Jay, would come back from work and I would have collected the kids. They'd be in the living room playing and laughing. I'd be outside in the garden and I would be there, having my 2nd pint, my 3rd pint, and my wife, I was never an aggressive person drunk. I thought it was fine what I was doing. What I was doing was absolutely fine. What's wrong with it? A lot of people come home and have 2, 3 beers or a glass of wine. What's the difference? The difference is I was doing it to play a trick on my mind because the flashbacks were there, or my kids were playing, or let's say they were playing and then a scream might trigger me and have a flashback. That drink was a magic trick, trust me. Half a pint would be numbing it, the flashbacks would slow down. And Jay would come in and go, I'm losing my husband with his mental health, he's losing his job, and now I'm losing him to drink. She goes, every time I come in and saw that, you were going further away from me. But how hard is it on that person? And
you refuse to believe it. You go, man, I'm here. And you just crack a joke.
Yeah.
And then you go back into your driftiness.
Yeah.
Your
days.
Your void look.
Yeah. I was really ashamed with my thoughts and where they were going and how dark they were becoming. But as I say, when I opened up and was honest about them, I didn't get the support. And that took a lot to say that. It took a lot to be honest about my drinking. And then to not get that support that you think you might get was really hard. My wife knew I had a drink problem. Of course she did. It wasn't hers to fix. It was for me to fix. So I would try and say to my wife, I'm not drinking for this week, to then have a drink in my hand 2 days later, because the alcohol had gone out of my system. The anxiety had increased drastically. My flashbacks was going through the roof. My ability to live life okay was not good. So then the drink brought it all down. It leveled it. So it became that dependent. If you say nothing to someone that's struggling, that means you are doing nothing. People are scared to say the wrong thing to someone that is suffering with a mental illness. They feel you don't care. But if you say something, at least you've tried. Reach out to someone today who you haven't done for quite a while. Ask a question. Are you all right? And maybe ask it again if you think the response, if you know someone, you know them, they might be struggling. And if you continue to do nothing, all they'll hear will be the loud voices maybe in their mind of those that aren't actually caring or aren't actually sending a message or making a phone call or come into the home address, have a cup of tea and coffee. If you like Craig and you don't drink hot drinks, then you have a soft drink. But I think a real key part I found as a boss and a supervisor was taking the team away from the environment, away from the radio, away from the next incident, and go for a walk. Maybe if you're at work, to go for a walk around the block and just have a chat. And the ability to say, do you know what? It's all right. That was a really hard job. Let's talk about it. Saying nothing is doing nothing. Please don't do nothing. You don't have to solve the person's problem. You don't have to fix people. People don't want to be fixed. They just want to know that someone is there for them. Even one person being there for someone can make the difference in that person being here tomorrow. That might not have made it had you not made that intervention. Small things matter. They are the big things.
I'm addicted to painkillers. And it's like standing up, isn't it? He goes, hi, I'm Craig. I'm Darren. I'm an alcoholic. Sit down and go, I'm Craig. I'm addicted to painkillers. I've just stopped taking them.
Yeah. 2
weeks now. Because the doctor said it's adding to your migraines. And I sort of got to stop. So I've stopped. Now they're in my cupboard, constantly looking at me. And it's hard. It's hard not to be in pain all the time, not just with my element, my wrists, my leg, my head, not to go and just stop the pain. Same with alcohol, numb the pain.
Yeah. I think if you really are dependent on drink, coming off it cold turkey is really dangerous as well.
Oh, massively. Massively. We had a guy come down to the school.
Yeah.
And he went cold turkey.
Yeah. On that weekend and need a drink.
Oh, I thought he was dying.
Yeah.
I thought he was dying.
Yeah.
I thought he had sunstroke.
Yeah.
Because it was hot.
So it depends on how severe your addiction, alcohol, whatever dependency you want to call it, but it depends on the level, depends on if you need medication to help you safely.
They took him to the pub.
Yeah.
He had 3 pints.
Yeah.
He downed the 2, sipped the third. Like nothing could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Gets rid of the shakes.
Honestly.
And it becomes, that's his normal though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing when you're self-medicating with alcohol, it's everywhere, every high street, every corner, every shop. And when you give it up, you see it everywhere. And if I was able to have a day off or 2 days off, I'd have the cravings to drink. My God, I've heard of people saying, I've got cravings, and I'd have the shakes. If you don't think you've got a drink problem, try and give it up for a week, 2 weeks, and see how much you want it and see how hard it is. That will give you an indication of how bad a drink problem you may have. Yeah. So for me, as I say, I wasn't a bottle of whiskey a day. It was a few beers that went from being 3 days a week to 4 days a week to 5 days a week to 6 to 7. And before you know it, you're drinking every day. The next 6 months, my mental health deteriorated so much that I had to be medicated to prevent myself from committing harm to myself. Never anyone else, to myself. My wife, fortunately, was there with me and was able to bring me home safely. That night, I couldn't believe I was in the darkness of my bedroom again, thinking, how the hell am I going to get out of this hole again? Got out of bed, I crawled, I prayed. I said, please take away the addiction. Please take away the pain. Please help me. I thought and I felt my prayers were answered. I went and I said to my wife, I won't drink again. I'm going to get all the help I need. My career is gone. I couldn't lose my wife. I couldn't lose my children, and I couldn't lose me anymore. I had to fight for me. And that was the start for me, where I really had to dig deep and just try to keep myself as safe as I could whilst going through the medical ill health process. It shouldn't happen. We should have more support. The fact is I was left alone by the organisation, but fortunately I had friends and family who supported me. And now I hold peer support, and I'm helping other people not feel as alone, not feel as isolated, and hopefully learn from me how they might be able to keep safe. It's not therapy. it's peer support, it's lived experience. It's for me to say, you're not alone. I mean, we relate to one another in so many ways, and we're connected by our PTSD in very different, connected by the suffering that it causes and the trauma from two different areas of hard area of living. This is great today, but I never thought I'd be sat here talking about me back in 5 years ago when I had a breakdown. My God, didn't think, I'd be an author and talking about my book and talking about my mental health and helping others through that journey and being honest about having a drink problem. And now I can sit here 2 months. I had a look this morning, 802 days sober. I couldn't do 2 days.
Was there a limit to your drinking? Was you drunk and you thought, that's enough, I feel numb enough to carry on?
Enough to maybe just numb the emotion linked to the trauma. I now know it's a poison. I'm not anti-drink, far from it. Most of my friends' family drink, okay? My wife has the occasional drink. I'm not anti-drink at all. My relationship with my wife is so much better. I'm so much more present with my children. I'm so much healthier. When you have got an addiction, I think you've got an addictive personality. My addictive mindset is, I think, a superpower with when I was doing it with investigations and long hours and how methodical I was, to now when I run and do ultra marathons, I'm going, right, I'm not stopping till I finish. I've got that. I'm going to do it. When I joined the job, I'm going to do it. Why? Because my friend died in 9/11 and I wanted to help prevent other horrible things from happening, and I wanted to help people. So when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I said I'm going to write a book, I did it. So it's a superpower as well, that addictive mindset. My mind, having investigated and seen the worst of what these people do, I really struggled to meet new people or be introduced to some family members even, that you worry, are they a predator? Because you see familiar, or because you see stranger incidents, because there is no stereotype. Had a girl, bless her, she was a fostered, and the guy was like, we want kids, and abusing her. If you are a parent and you're wanting to protect your children from harm of online predators, make sure you've got an idea what your children are actually searching for. Have a good relationship with your children, speak to them, and ask them, can I have your phone? Can I have a look at what you're looking at? Young children having smartphones is dangerous. I know there's no intention for you to give your child a device that might cause them harm, but in some instances it does. I would say don't do it. If you do, make sure that there are adult material on there that will not get in the hands of your child. Make sure that the settings are done accordingly to suit the age of the child. And if your children are playing on games online, are they playing with a friend they know from school, or is it a total stranger? Would you let your child have a stranger come up to them and play with them in a street? You wouldn't. So why would you do it online? So it is a hidden harm. It's a hidden risk. And how do you mitigate it? How do you stop it? And large part of that is communication. And if your child comes and says that they've been communicated with, just say thank you for sharing it. And you normalise them conversations early, and you will keep them safe. If you tell your child off because they've communicated with someone online who they don't know, they've still done nothing wrong in telling you. They've been actually really brave in coming to tell you because they feel that they want to be protected. something that stops children saying something that may have happened to them or something online is the fear of what someone would say to them for what they may appear to have done something wrong. They've done nothing wrong. They're children. Our job is to protect them and believe them. So there's many ways of doing it, but just have open conversations with your children and let them know that it's okay to come and talk to you.
Now, technology is out there.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, it's my biggest bugbear. I always say to Josh all the time, you see people in restaurants so just like this, a group of you, and they're all on their phones. Technology is phones, and images so easy to get a hold of, dark web and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people that troll these sites to lure young girls in, or young boys in, and things like that. Your professional opinion, from the years that you have done this, how do you tell the viewers out there how to protect their children?
I'd say one simple answer to a real complex issue, is don't give them a smartphone. Your children are children. Job as a parent is to protect your children. Okay, do the best. I'm not saying by you giving them a phone you're being a bad parent. Far from it. Children are more savvy with technology than what their parents will be. They're growing up as a child with technology. We grew up, we become adults, and then we had phones. They're growing up, so it is their norm. Okay, so I wouldn't give, and I haven't given my daughter a smartphone.
What's your daughter got?
Flip phone, SIM only, and she can call and text, and she's got Tetris and Snake on her phone. So she calls and texts, so she says, I'm on my way home. So you've got that way of communicating with your child and knowing your child's safe, which I get is what parents want to know. But if you've got a smartphone and kids are bringing it into their bedroom or communicating with friends or on a WhatsApp group, you would want to know if you've got your kids' friends around the house, who they are, what's their names, what are they called. You don't do that on a mobile phone. Who's that on the WhatsApp group? Stranger, friend. So I refer to it, it's referred to as hidden danger, hidden harm. Okay. So because you're not aware of it, it's a hidden harm. And how do you then manage that risk? Easiest way for you to do it is not to give them a smartphone. Kids have been brought up with technology and with the internet. So you can't not say to them, you can't have access to the World Web. Okay. Because it's not normal. They're going to be going into jobs, so you've got to equip them with the right amount of knowledge and allow them access to it, but safely. And part of that would be parental responsibility over looking at what they're searching, having adult safeguarding on the apps so they can't look at adult content. Turning your internet router and things off to their devices at certain times so they haven't got access to it at 11 o'clock at night when you're asleep. Small things like this really, really make a huge difference. And when I investigated all of these investigations, so many of them were unbeknown to the parents that their child was sharing imagery with someone who's asking them because they've got a camera on their phone that goes to the internet and then they share it. And sometimes kids have been kids and they're growing and getting used to their bodies as well. Okay. And if they've got the technology, could they use it? Do they use it? Some do. So I'm not saying it's an easy problem to solve, but if they didn't have a smartphone, I think you reduce their accessibility to it. That's what I would advise. And that's what I've done with my kids. I'm not saying it's right. Follow me, but I personally think it's a far safer way for your kids to live without smartphones until they're a certain age.
So what I want to talk about is your book. We roughly covered it when we I was going to swear, I'm going to stop. Roughly covered it when we started this podcast. How long has this been out now?
Maybe 6 weeks.
Have you had a good positive response?
Yeah.
Massively?
Yeah, good. Yeah. 5-star so far.
Has this helped you heal by writing stuff down? Now, I've got mine here.
Yeah.
Sad like that. It was my one. Okay. And I found it. I haven't read mine.
Yeah.
Tanya hasn't read it.
Yeah.
Have I felt healing by doing it? I probably have.
Okay.
And people's comments when they've read it has helped me heal as well.
Yes. My wife's similar to Tanya. She won't read it. She can't read it. She lived it. Tanya lived it.
Has it helped you heal?
It started off as a journal. So for me, I journal, you journal. Yeah. Journal really, really helps. Gets the words out of here, gets it on a page. It's as if you're sharing it with a friend. Yeah. And that friend isn't being judgmental. You can say what you want and close it, and hopefully people respect it and don't open it. Yeah. They're your words. And if you choose to share it, you've made the decision to share it. So this started off as a journal and I chose to share it. And if you've got a loved one out there that is suffering with, and it doesn't have to be PTSD, it could be they're living with a mental illness or really struggling, you might be able to understand a little bit about more what that person might be going through Lifeline. It was a book I wish I had when I was broken. There was nothing like that available for me to read. So if someone is broken or in a dark place or thinking they're going near it, I want it to be a book of prevention before crisis. We all don't have to get to the point where we're stood in a road waiting for a car to come and hit us. We can prevent that decline. So I hope by people seeing other people ask for help, it will give them inspiration and courage to say, okay, Craig did it. Darren's done it. Someone else is going to do it, I'm sure, because of what we've done. And I think words matter so much more, and communication, and coming on here today to you and having you support me and Lifeline will hopefully get that awareness out there with prevention before crisis. So as I say, it's not written purely for services. It isn't. It's written for anybody who wants to know what it is to be a detective in organised crime, what it is to live with PTSD. It's an area of policing that not a lot is known about. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast today, because I know it's going to highlight the issue of so many law enforcement officers that are investigating online paedophile gangs. There is a human cost to doing that job, and it isn't purely the officers seeing it. Look at the human cost of the poor children that are being abused, and to focus on education and awareness to parents that there are small things you can do to protect your kids. And I've suggested a couple a moment ago.
One day you will tell your daughter of what you've done
in the police,
and she'll be allowed to read your book at one point when she's old enough. Yeah. But you let her read the back and she spots a spelling mistake. There we go.
Before,
there we go. How old is she?
She's now 11.
11, and she spotted
a spelling or grammar. I think it was grammar, which isn't my strength.
Yeah.
But I hope that book gives people strength, that when they're in that dark period, as you've lived and live with, okay, it never goes, but it does get lighter. Life can get better, and it takes a different path. Mm-hmm. We spoke about purpose earlier, and I really struggle with it, especially if you're in the services. It's a family, you belong, your friends, your colleagues. You've gone out to real difficult incidents, or you've protected one another, and that bond is for life. But then when you've left it, who are you? Who are you when that uniform's gone? Who are you when I think a couple of days ago I went, where's my badge? And I touched my leg and went, God, and I haven't had it for years. And it was a default position, like a part of your body.
Yeah.
Where's my badge? I couldn't believe it.
So guys, please, it's on Amazon. If you're struggling, please get it. It will save a life. All right. If 10 people buy this book and it reaches one person, it's reached that one person. Okay, so give it a go. Go on Amazon and give it a read. Don't forget my book as well. All right. Darren, I'd say a massive thank you. I could talk to you all day because it's my interest and about the police, about, sounds wrong, but about the sex offenders sort of thing, how they get hunted, how they get interviews and stuff like that. I thank that you're still here.
Yeah, thank you.
I thank that you've been sober for 200 odd days.
802.
Absolutely brilliant, mate. I wish you all the best. We're friends anyway because we talk to each other now and again on WhatsApp.
We do.
I just wish you all the best, and I wish that, and thank you.
Thank you.
So, guys, fantastic podcast we just had with Darren. So, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Ring the bell, okay? Cost you absolutely nothing to subscribe, guys. It just does me and Josh a big favour, and we get more out of it, more content, better guests and stuff like that. All right, guys. So remember what I said, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Scope, and look forward to the next episode. Cheers, guys.
Good man. Gives a cuddle.
Yeah. You'll have to get crouched down.